Yeah, even if you say you feel your feet on the floor right now, like where is that you're confirming that with? A thought, right? So when you start to lose that strong, gut level tether to time, you have a really good chance of losing the gut level tether, I guess. I don't have a better word, to space, to physicality, to form at all. Yeah. And this is why it may sound crazy, but for some people who have a big shift, to like everything disappeared. I could see through the floor, I could see through my hands, I could see through the body, and all of a sudden it was just nothing. Or light, and then nothing, something like that. That's why. Well, I'll take your twitching as a sign it's working. Just joking. I'm joking. Yeah. So that's it's like the simplest approach to this is to approach it simply, really, in a very, very simple way. If there's a past, why can you not interact with it at all in any way, and never, ever, ever can, ever? If there's a future, why can you never, ever interact with it? A thought can appear that says, this is the future. A thought can appear that says, this is the past. It's appearing right now. That's it. You've never been 1 second in the past because there isn't one. You've never been 1 second in the future because there isn't one. So there's a psychological mechanism that constructs this illusion called time to make it seem to make sense. And yet everything, and this strangely actually goes along with like special theory of relativity really, really well, with the space-time interval, which describes literally everything is already in existence. The only thing that determines appearances is causality, not time or space. So it's easy to understand mathematically. Maybe it's not easy to put that as a mental model in your mind, because your mind will put it in time every single time. That's all it can do to imagine, right? So you can see when this deconstructs how, again, everything just disappears. You literally see through the illusion of solidity, space, time. And maybe another step to that is, you ask yourself that question, like, well, if there's a past, why can I not interact with it right now? You might start seeing those flashes, like, oh, pop, oh, here's an image of what seems like the past. There's nothing connected to that. There's nothing solid that's in connection with anything that's appearing in the mind. It's just an appearance in the mind, and another one, and another one. Maybe you're eating breakfast, maybe this and that, and, petting the dog or talking to your partner or something. These images appearing, and you just check in here and you're like, well, that's not happening here. Nope. Oh my gosh, it's turning into a Q&A. All right. It doesn't happen very often where my talks turn into Q&As. This must be a good one or something. Maybe a bad one.
I was just wondering, listening to you, I hear the sounds. And at the same time, there is information transmitted, which needs kind of this lag of putting the sounds together to words and meaning.
Mm-hmm.
What does that refer to present, to this?
Yeah, but that thought that's appearing right now, is it appearing to someone?
Hard to say.
Mm-hmm. Does it exist in time? Without another thought saying it exists in time?
Which thought?
Any thought.
Any thought.
The one that just, the conceptual thought you just said.
It pops up and then gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or another one catching up with it
Mm-hmm.
in the next moment.
Yeah.
In the same moment.
Yeah. And so to take a step past what we're talking about now, in one sense, strangely, what will be the mind will conclude something about what I'm talking about. No, it's not that it's concluding something about what I'm talking about. The mind will conclude something about that experience if you actually go through that experience, even a little bit, even just get a taste of it right now. that'll happen, right? The cessation will appear and so forth. Cessation doesn't appear. The experience of appearances will completely cease. It can, right? I mean, you could have a very extreme recognition of what I'm pointing to here. And strangely, the mind can make a model of that too. And it will. It'll say that's some background or ground of being or absolute truth, fixed reality, the fixed reality that there is no reality, which is even itself still a view. So what I'm getting at is complete absence of form is not anything the mind can imagine it is. Because it's also, that's kind of the nothing portion of the talk, I suppose. But it's also everything. And the everything is not a bunch of things, but it's a intimate continuity of sorts. It's a radiant. This is the thing. There's just no word for it. Like, it's not contact because there's not things in contact. Intimacy is pretty good, but some people associate it with like human sensuality or something, and that's not what I mean by it. It's just that it's so obviously here. I could say home, but that has a lot of connotations too. It's just here. Very, very intimate. And that's not your life being intimate or you being intimate with yourself in the way you want to be or something. It's the snow falling, the hand, the ground. It's really what Angel was talking about in his description yesterday. It was like, if you see the mountain, you see it. But if you see a mountain out there as an image, then you're seeing a mountain as an image. But when you really see what's there, then this is obvious. So it's not an absence. It's not a net absence. It's full. It's a very full experience as well. But the fullness and the emptiness really are, to use a Buddhist term, they're dependently co-arising. So you can't, if I talk about either one individually, it can be really misleading. And know that there are psychological features of our inner world that will want it to be one way or the other at times, and will not want to see the other side of this. I mean, there are a lot of barriers to the awakening to begin with, right? And you can't just say, well, let me just bypass the whole awakening thing, the cessation. Let me bypass seeing the complete empty nature of everything, and just go to the part that sounds good, which is like getting everything I want because it feels really good or something. Feeling a human that just feels good all the time and has great relationships and abundance, That's not what this is about either. Don't fool yourself. It is total annihilation. And it's also inheriting your birthright, which is endlessly intimate, but not with anything that's fixed or real. It's really with the best way to say it for me now is with the non-dualistic textures of experience that are appearing endlessly, appearing as pink, as floor. Tony Parsons sometimes will say the floor is flooring, the wall is walling, the sky is skying, Yeah, exactly. But it's not out there. There's not someone here referencing something out there. It's here and here. Yeah. Oh my gosh, another question. Here we go.
I just keep thinking of, I don't know the whole quote, but Kala Rinpoche, I think it goes like, there is a reality, you are that reality. When you see that you're nothing, you'll see that you're everything. And it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
That's this is reminding me of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nisargadatta said something similar, like, when I look inside and see that I'm nothing, that is wisdom, and I look outside and see that I am everything that is love. And between those two, my life flows. It's another way of saying it. I assume he's saying the same thing. Probably. Can't know because he's dead, but I would assume that's what he means. And this is just a comment on like the features of the human psyche and how spirituality plays out, both in traditions and in contemporary spirituality that we find ourselves in now. And it's fascinating how the mind can listen to anything, any of this stuff I say, any stuff anyone says, and pick and choose what it wants to hear. And, and even settle for some insights when the insights are not fully matured. And that's usually a fear. That's fear to go deeper. So I think I'm pretty consistent with the message that there are stages to this, and that there are sort of marks of fruition that are not really in disagreement. If you look at Dzogchen and Zen and Advaita Vedanta and the realized masters and the contemporary realized masters that are around us, I've talked to many, and I find there's a similarity among them on the realization of no self, the realization of non-dual, the nature of appearance and formlessness. So I don't think there's really debate about it necessarily in those who have really walked this path. And yet, when you're on the path, there's a lot of pitfalls. There can be a lot of confusion that comes up, and it really comes down to picking and choosing, and not being willing. Again, this is why I talk about shadow work so often, and we're doing it during this retreat. It really comes down to fear. It's not some mystical thing that you can't quite figure out the right formulation of the doctrine from 2,000 years ago. It's actually fear. It's very human fear of going into the unknown, fear of revealing to yourself a trauma that you didn't want to feel, fear of losing what you thought you had to begin with. It's all of that, right? It could be other emotions too, but these are emotional barriers. These are very human things. So yeah, don't overlook that. And you don't, I guess is also why I talk about, it's just a thought. It's just a thought. Really seeing thoroughly what the mind does, how it constructs false realities. Otherwise, you might find yourself stuck with one, that you figured it out and you got it. And this is how it is, and which is fine. Of course, it's fine. But there may be more that could unfold for you. And why miss it, right? Why miss that possibility? More clarity, more freedom, more ease, spontaneity, connection, humanness in the relative world, in the very, very real and concrete relative world. Yeah. So much is available. So much is available. And I think, it's amazing actually we're living in such an auspicious time because of technology that we have access to all of this, right? Really cool. Technology that can move us across the surface of the earth to retreats in a pretty rapid fashion compared to the way it used to be, wandering around looking for temples and starving and all. Yeah, we don't have to do all that. Right? Losing digits because it's so cold in the meditation temples. Although apparently that still happens to some degree. But yeah, what an auspicious time we live in, that we have access to the pointing, the transmission, the processes, the sanghas, the retreats, one-on-one interactions with people who will pull the rug out for you if you're willing to let them do it. Yeah,